What's drop shipping?
So it's basically like
Get up on that mic, boy.
Yeah, we gotta
bring it up.
We gotta teach you, man. Put the thing in your mouth.
There you go. Oh, wait a minute. Why were you so excited to say it that way? We gotta teach you, boy. Put that thing in your mouth.
I gotta make him feel comfortable.
Dude, can we just restart? What about drop shipping?
Yeah, what is drop shipping?
So it's basically like the same thing as like the Amazon stuff. It was just like you got a product, make your own website for the product, and it's already like a thing. And you just advertise the crap out of it, and people buy it through your website, and it's like being shipped from.
But
like,
you're not making the product. Essentially, you're buying.
So basically,
already
you
in
just
a
do the
warehouse.
marketing for a product.
Yeah, it's already in a warehouse made, and they just ship it straight out to the buyer.
How do you find that product though?
What were you selling?
You can just go to like, it was like on Alibaba or something like overseas, and
so you're going to the Asian market, finding
so
a
what were you
fidget
selling?
spinner.
Yeah, whatever is popular, and just make ads. But yeah, you know what? I had everything in place to do it, and I just never did it.
Yeah,
never did it. I was that guy.
I've heard that.
I was that guy.
My brother-in-law, he's been wanting to do this for a long time. He ended up not doing it, but you can buy
2 quitters.
I know.
Speaking of not quitting, here, catch. Speaking of not quitting,
the fidget spinner.
TTT.
Oh gosh.
You know, some people say the fidget spinner died.
It did
I say
die.
everybody just quit. We haven't quit, and so right now, if you purchase anything on the TTT shop, you will be sent a free official TTT logo.
Can you
fidget
hold
spinner.
that up to this camera so they can see the beautiful logo on there?
I mean,
Is it right side up?
Yeah,
we don't like
it's
quitters
sideways,
around
but
here.
it's
So
good
go
enough.
ahead, tell us about your quitter brother-in-law or whatever.
Well, I was saying, I didn't know this was a thing, but you can buy truckloads of like broken product from, let's say, Target or something like that. They'll sell that off, they'll auction it off, and it'll be you could end up spending a lot, but you also could get a full 53-foot semi-load of stuff for like, let's say $2,000.
Yeah.
And you can get lucky where maybe something is broken, but it's an easy fix. And so like, let's say it's a full thing of TVs, but only one was broken. The rest of them are good, but they'll sell them off because they don't know if they're
That
damaged.
sounds like all of my relationships.
Just swipe right, baby.
There you go. Yeah,
Keep going.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So anyhow, he had his whole plan. He actually built a warehouse in his backyard, and now he just uses it for fun for like all his cars.
Gosh.
They're wealthy. They've got some cash. So
There you go. Hey,
yeah.
it all works out.
Today we've got a wonderful young man, David Bradley, on the podcast. We've got a lot of things to talk about, your relationships included.
Oh god.
Oh shit, we're already gonna plant the seed.
David,
So David's dated someone that you may have heard of, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
I'm not going to give him a hard time. David won the CrossFit Games in 2019, correct?
Yep.
And then you were second place the following year in the teen division.
I missed the following year.
Oh, you missed the following year. We'll talk about that.
Year, yep.
And then the next year was 17, 18 division, correct?
16, 17.
16, 17, sorry.
Yep. Got second in that year, last year. And, yeah.
And now you're a grown man.
Yeah.
You're in the real boy division now.
Oh yeah.
So how old are you now?
I'm 18. Yep.
Cool. So you're still a young man.
Birthday's in January.
I want to kind of, we haven't had a ton of teens on. We talked to Alexis, which now everyone in our audience, everyone in the world knows because she crushed it at the games this year, and she went from a teen where there's dominance there, and you can have a lot of confidence, but as soon as, and we'll talk about this today, right? But as you move up, you realize, man, there are a lot of really good males, or in Alexis's instance, a lot of really good females that you have to compete against, and it's a completely different world. But
it's a reality check.
Yeah,
for sure.
that process, I think a lot of teens are probably going to go through over the next couple of years, and you're a great example of that. And so I wanted to dive into that. But first, I think we should start with the year that you won, kind of the process that it took to get there, and then also like, how did you get into CrossFit? Because one of the first things that when I asked somebody yesterday, hey, do you have anything on David Bradley? And they sent me a picture of you.
Oh, God.
You like extremely overweight at like age 12 to you completely ripped at age 14 or 15.
Wait, what is extremely overweight?
Like I have the picture.
Well,
Do you want to see
So I was, I think at my highest weight, I was like 185, 190 pounds.
So not that heavy.
But at 5 foot.
Yes.
At 12 years old?
I was like 11, I think, 10 or
Holy
11.
smokes. What did it to you? Was it the Cheetos?
Zaxby's.
Zaxby's.
Bro,
They have salads now.
what were you getting? Salads. With a Z.
Yeah,
I was
salad.
getting chicken finger plates.
Were you getting them dipped in the buffalo?
Sweet tea. I had an addiction to sweet tea.
Sweet tea is good.
It's
dangerous though. You literally are drinking
dangerous.
just sugar.
Sugar water,
Yeah.
Flavored sugar water.
It's good.
But no, I also had a hormone imbalance, which I didn't know. So I had like super high estrogen, and it was jacking up my like testosterone and all that. So my metabolism was not working. So weird how that worked.
So how did you find that out?
Blood work.
Okay.
I had a bunch of blood work done.
At what age were you like, hey, something's going on? Or was this like your parents were the ones that kind of said, hey, we need to get you checked?
So I was 12.
Okay.
I think I was 12. I was 12. And I was working out. I was in the kids class in CrossFit. You know, I started CrossFit when I was 10. So I've almost been doing it for about 9 years now. Why? You know, I did baseball before that, and I was at a point where I just wasn't that active. I was gaming a lot. I loved video games.
You grew up in that generation where there were video games.
Man, I was really into CSGO, which was like a shooter game. It was like a Call of Duty type game.
I'm not the person to talk to about games.
Yeah.
Chris, you
I've never even heard of that. Now I feel old.
It's like an older game, so I'm surprised you haven't heard of it.
CSGO? What does CS stand for?
Man, no clue. I obviously wasn't that into it, but no, I would do that a lot. I actually thought I wanted to be a professional gamer. Like, that's what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to make YouTube videos, you know, post
That's
my
a big
clips.
thing
No,
now,
hold on.
right?
Was getting into CSGO instead of Call of Duty or Halo kind of like people will like go do bobsledding or all these like little weird sports because they can't do the big ones?
It was like the game of that time. So, like, that's what was popular. There was, like, huge events for it.
I must have been old then, too.
It wasn't like if you were really into the gaming world, you like, knew of it. Dang. But if you didn't. But
what is the game of choice now?
Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty every now and then.
Well, is that also what's pop? Like you were talking last week on the podcast that people make millions of dollars in esports.
Yeah.
What sport is that? Or what game is that?
The game is the sport. So like,
yeah.
I mean, the biggest genre probably, I don't know actually, but it probably would be first person shooters where, you know, you're in the viewpoint of the guy.
So Call of Duty would be
Call of Duty, Halo.
Okay. And they're making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That's
millions.
That's crazy.
Millions.
That's awesome. Good for them. I mean, I'd never got into a video game. I didn't play video games growing up, which I know seems crazy, but like my parents just were like, you got to go outside.
I
had a healthy, like, I was outside a lot and I played video games.
Coming from the guy that was 190 pounds at 10 years old. I was super healthy going outside.
Yeah, what happened?
That was before then. I wasn't always overweight.
Can you pinpoint what age you started packing on the pounds?
It was literally like, it wasn't like a slow process to getting overweight. It was like one day, like a year and a half. It was just like it packed on really quick. So yeah, I was like 12 years old and I was in the teens class. I was working out a bunch. Like,
sorry, we got sidetracked with the video games. We were asking you why you started CrossFit. Did you say that?
Yeah. Okay. So I started CrossFit.
What got you there?
I was playing baseball most of my life, and then I wasn't active. So then I started going to CrossFit just like twice a week, and then it turned into like 3 times a week.
But why? As opposed to anything else you could have done. What got you to there instead of the Globo Gym?
So my aunt was actually at CrossFit Krypton. She knows all the Smiths, so like Ben, Alec, all them. So this was a long time ago. And I didn't know who they were, but she was like, I'm at this gym and these guys are like working out all the time and they're really good. And I like CrossFit's just amazing, you know, like selling us on it, and it worked. And my sister actually started going before I did. So
and some people may not know, but your sister was, I mean, she probably still, if she did it, would be very good. Like she was a regional level athlete. We'll get into her later.
Yeah, she so she got into it first, and then I followed. And, you know, I was working out all the time and no weight was falling off. But, you know, I was also not watching what I ate.
Right.
Which was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I was working out a bunch, but you can't work out an unhealthy diet.
Eating a bunch, too.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then when it was about a year later, like a year into CrossFit, and I had lost no weight, then we got my blood work done and all that, just because it was weird. Like, I think one of the signs was like I had no knuckles.
Yeah.
I was so puffy.
Right.
Like I looked
super inflamed.
Super inflamed. And I was just like, I just thought I had a lot of water weight. And I did. But I was just super inflamed. And like no matter how much I worked out, I wouldn't lose a pound. So when we got all that done, that's what it was. I just had a hormone imbalance. Meant none of my hormones were working properly. And then I was at Wadapalooza watching my sister Elizabeth compete, and it was like her first or second year.
So what year was this? 2016?
2017. 17, yes. And I was with my family in the stands watching her compete, and I was like, gosh, I really want to do this. Like, I just had a drive to do it. And so that year, I downloaded MyFitnessPal. I also started to get my hormones all in line, and I was watching everything I ate. Like, as a 12, 13-year-old, I was counting everything I ate,
it takes a lot of discipline.
Everything I ate. I was on YouTube hours a day. But it was school, YouTube, just researching about nutrition, fitness, just everything, macros. I was like 13, researching about micros, macros, all of it. So that same year, I ended up losing like the 52 pounds in like 8 to 9 months. And it was a process of like, I counted everything I ate. I was working out 2 times a day, and I also hit a growth spurt over the summer because my hormones started working properly.
Yeah.
Shot up 7-8 inches over the summer.
That's awesome.
But then I was at a point where it like turned unhealthy. I had like an obsession about losing weight, and I was at my lowest 124 pounds.
Wow. So you went, let's say 194 at 5 feet to 125 pounds at what, 5'8", 5'9", or whatever you were at the time.
Yeah, I was like 5'8".
Yeah.
So it was a drastic change.
Wow.
And so I was at Wodapalooza. I ended up qualifying that next following year.
So 2018.
So
essentially
qualified.
A year, you in 2017, you watch your sister, who again is like extremely talented. She's super impressive. I've seen her train quite a few times.
Yeah.
You watch her at Wodapalooza, which is a great place to like get motivated. The environment there is awesome, especially back in those days. Like, it was just like the crowds were amazing. And then a year later, you end up competing there.
Yeah, it was surreal. But I mean,
what year did you step foot into this gym? Because I remember you as a kid, but I can't remember if you were Zaxby's or not.
I was not Zaxby's.
So you had already
know that for a fact. I think it was the Games Camp in 2019. Yeah, because
you may have been around even the year before, because Elizabeth came in a couple times.
I remember you watching.
We were both working with Mitch at that time too, so he was here, training and stuff, and so I would drop in every now and then. I think Elizabeth did drop in times without me,
for sure,
before me. But yeah, so I qualified 2018, I guess, and I placed 11th in the qualifier. I think only 11 went. And so then at the competition, I placed 11th.
All right. Consistent, baby.
Consistency, that's all that matters. And so then it just started, like, the drive to get better and just train harder and just really put my all into it. And
so at that point, what were the goals? Did you you knew you wanted to go to the games and win the games?
I think at that point, I wasn't even, like, I was thinking about the games and stuff like that, but it was like Wodapalooza was like my main goal. I was like, at a young age, I was like, this competition is sick. It's awesome. On the water, all the lights and all that. I was like, I want to get back here the following year. So I ended up making it back that following year, and I won the qualifier and ended up winning that year.
Yeah.
So
and did that give you some confidence going into the rest of the season, I'm sure?
Yes. So then once I won it, it was like, okay, now let's get ready for the games.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what happened.
And then, okay, so you do Wodapalooza. It's games time. You're at what age were you the year that you won Wodapalooza?
I was 15.
You were 15. So you're still in the 14-15 division going into the games.
Yeah. So I have to add this. This was so sick. My birthday falls on the weekend of Wodapalooza.
Okay.
So on the last day at Wodapalooza, it was my birthday, and I was on the main stage, and all my buddies that are in my division told the announcers that it was my birthday. Everyone sang happy birthday for me. It was so sick.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Was it before the workout or after?
It was before.
They were just they were playing mind games with you. They were trying to get you distracted so they could beat you.
Did you win that workout?
I didn't think about that. I honestly don't remember.
Oh man,
I don't remember.
Man, that is a crazy story, though, to think that, and, I was joking with you being overweight, because I actually, at the same age, I was overweight, and it's kind of a similar story. I was playing football, so obviously not CrossFit, but for me, I wanted to play a certain position. And to do that, I needed to lose weight and get stronger and get in shape, all those kind of things. And I was probably obsessive too. And there's probably a fine line, right? Like for most people, they aren't obsessive enough, and then they just like lose interest, and then they become, soft and weak again. And then maybe people like you and me, we end up being over obsessive, and it could be dangerous for us. But finding that fine line to be able to be competitive and reach your goals, I think it's tough, right, to meet that. Yeah. So you finish Wodapalooza, and you go into the game season. After winning Wodapalooza, like, what are you thinking? Did you have a goal of winning the games then, or was it more like, look, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm a teen, and that's all I care about.
And did you instantly change your Instagram bio to say Wodapalooza 20 whatever?
You know it. It's so funny because that's like I knew Noah like already and stuff like that. And I remember after like the podium or whatever ceremony, I like came over to him.
The longest podium ceremony of any competition of all time.
It was pretty bad. So late. And we're in Bayfront Park. And I'm like, you don't want to be in Bayfront Park at night late, And so I like went over to him and I was like, I won, because I had been talking to Noah all throughout the weekend. Like, Noah's one of the guys I looked up to, like, honestly, throughout CrossFit. Him and Chandler, I remember, and just their work ethic, and just they always had fun.
Yeah,
and
fuck
like,
you, Trav.
No, Travis is the same way. Like, Travis is the same way.
But to your point, Noah is one of those, like, I know people, there are a bunch of haters of Noah out there, but he's like the guy that he talked to you, right? Like he didn't have to. If you came up to me and I was Noah, I'd probably be like, dude, just go away. I'm trying to focus on competition. He's a guy that
I've had
really
those
cares.
experiences. Yes. So to have Noah take time and stop what he's doing.
We need names.
Oh, no. I'm trying to get myself out there. I don't want to make any bad blood between people before I get out there.
He's a genuinely, like, good person.
On and off the floor.
Exactly.
On and off the cameras, like, no matter if the camera's on him, he's that same guy.
Exactly.
But I remember he, like, made a story post about me, and he was like, Wodapalooza champ. And I gained, like, 1,000 followers, and I was like, oh, my God.
The power of social media.
It was so cool. But, gosh, so how training changed.
Yeah.
My mindset going into it was I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. I'm still young. But also I knew the expectations that were on me. Like I ended up winning the Open that year. And so going into the games, also winning the Open, and I won the like quarterfinals they had back then. But going into that, I had a lot of pressure on me. That's how I felt. I felt like I had a lot of pressure. But once I got there, I had so much fun. Like every competition I've done, I've made so many friends, and they're all around the world, and I still talk to them to this day. I know I have the whole division in 2018 made a group chat, and it still goes on to this day. We talk every day. And, we add people to the group chat and stuff like that. Like
wait. They didn't qualify. We can't be adding anybody.
Start
a new group chat.
We'll upgrade you, even though you missed out.
It's called like the 2018 Wodapalooza boys or something like that. And just like the guys that go to Wodapalooza, like we add them in.
Cool.
It's a cool community, And so when I went to the games, I didn't have – I had expectations for myself, but I had no clue, I wasn't keeping track with – how the other guys were training and all this, Mitch was at the time.
Sure.
Mitch is like, he was focused, on, okay, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. So I was aware, but I wasn't spending my time like obsessing about how
you were letting Mitch was your coach at the time, Mitch Beaver, and you were letting him you were letting him kind of figure out those decisions for you.
Which he's very good at.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, in my mind I was like, let's have fun, but I'm here to win. Like, I'm gonna have the best time. But I know what I came here to do, and I know what I've been training for. So I ended up.
So I actually talked to Mitch, and he was telling me that you had an ankle injury going into the game. So and I don't think that ever came out. Not that there's a lot of coverage of the teens, but I had never heard that before. So what happened, and how did that kind of affect the weekend?
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was, I believe it was the first day we had a ruck run, and the ruck run wasn't just on flat ground pavement the whole way. It was like almost more than half of it was in the grass.
Right.
There was holes everywhere. Some, like, it was slanted on the hill where you had to run sometimes. And so you like did a lap, put a sandbag in, did a lap. And so I think it was like a 5K or something like that.
All the divisions did a variation of that.
Yeah. And so I ended up, I think it was my second lap. I was leading. And I ended up twisting my ankle on like a hill. And I rolled down the whole hill.
No.
And
Is there footage?
Gosh, I hope not. I haven't seen it.
Did a bag fall out like Frazier?
No, it did not.
You had it zipped.
I had it all zipped.
You hear that, Frazier? This dude.
Yeah, I'm still angry.
Kept all his bags, and he rolled down an entire
Come on,
hill.
man. All you got to do is zip the bag up, man.
I remember it was like slow motion. I'm rolling down this hill, and it was a big hill. And by the time I got up, it was too late. Like everyone had passed me.
Yeah.
Like it was so close the whole way that everyone had passed me. The Masters division had passed me. You know how like
there's these 65-year-olds that are just limping along.
Yeah, and then I joined them limping along the rest of the way. And so I get up, I start, and immediately my ankle is like killing me. And I had made the decision to wear some shoes that I didn't normally wear, and they had poor ankle mobility, like poor ankle support. And so that was like what did it. I think if I had any other shoe, that it would not have happened. But I like twisted my ankle, rolled down the hill, got up. I'm going. I think I placed like mid-pack still, and when I got in, I just collapsed. My ankle's all swollen, like I could not walk on it. So they ended up like bringing the medic van or whatever, they like this side by side or whatever, and bringing me like under the arena, and they had to check me and like clear me to even compete.
Do the rest of the competition.
Yeah, and they were like, you have a mild sprain, but if you make the decision to keep competing, like something else could happen to it because it's still like it's already injured. And so I made the decision to keep going, of course, and it was crazy. Like my brother-in-law Luis, he's a sports massage therapist, and so he was working on me that night. I remember he was like working on my ankle, and we heard like a loud pop, and like everyone in the room turns around, and like all the pressure that I had in my ankle was like gone, and so that gave me kind of like a little bit of confidence going in the next day.
Shout out Luis.
Good job, Luis.
He's a nice dude. I've met him.
Super nice, and he's good at what he does too. So I trust him a lot. He comes to all my competition and stuff. He's my main guy.
Yeah.
But so then the rest of the weekend, it would give me some issues, but never slowed me down. So
were there what other running events were there that year after that?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember what the workouts were, but I feel like that's still, I mean, anything you do, you got to do lunges or step-ups or any variation where you're walking on your feet. I think
there was like box jump overs.
Yeah, or that.
It was like dumbbell step overs.
Remind me what year we're in now. Is it 2018?
2019.
It's 2019.
2019, yeah. So, yeah, I ended up winning.
Yeah, so you win the games.
Did you know you were going to win? Like, did you have a big point gap?
This was actually crazy. Me and a kid from Brazil were tied like the whole weekend.
Kid from Brazil? He doesn't have a name? He's not in the group chat?
He's not in the group chat. He didn't go to Wadapalooza.
I think he's from Venezuela or Brazil.
Jeez, you don't even know where he's from.
Fucking runner up. That's this dude's name.
Yeah, the guy that got second place.
He did not speak any English, so I did not get close to him like during the competition. But
Google Translate.
The way you said that sounded wrong, but I get what you meant.
And so so yeah, oh my gosh, now my mind's blank. So what were we talking about?
You guys were tied the whole weekend.
We were battling back and forth every event. And it came down to actually a sprint. Oh my gosh, there you go. There was a running event.
Yeah. So you guys did the same variation that the individuals did. They did a sprint, like a zigzag through the cones.
No. This was a long chipper that had 400-meter runs in between.
Okay.
I remember it now. So it was like handstand push-ups, go out for a run. Like it was like 60 or something like that. Then you did something else, go out for a run. And it ended with you run into the stadium, sprint to the finish. So I remember the last lap, I had passed him on the straightaway, but he was still right behind me. Well, then he passes me going into the stadium. Well, he gets in, and we thought we just had to go to the pylon, and that was it and stop. Well, this was like the first year for both of us at the games. So you have to run all the way down the field and into the end zone or whatever, you know. And so we both come in, and we both are looking around like, are we done? and all the judges are looking at us to start running.
Yeah.
So we both like have a moment where we look at each other, start sprinting, and
how crazy.
It was insane. And I have a video, and I ended up beating him by 0.25 seconds.
Wow. Now, if y'all had both known, do you think he wins? Because you said he was ahead of you heading into it.
I think I think it would have been still very close because we were right next to each other running in. I think by the time we got to our assigned pylons, like it would have been close anyways.
Yeah.
But I ended up beating him by like 0.25 seconds. He rolled like head first. I stuck my foot out, and that's what it came down to. Were you thinking that running up?
Obviously, you were like foot.
Yeah, you gotta get the ankle. Yeah.
I've seen too many guys lose events because they didn't.
It happens more at like a semifinal where they're in their tight lanes and they're doing barbell work and they got to jump over the barbell and then they reach out and it's like, no, you got to get your ankles up.
Because I can see how that's like first instinct.
Oh, for sure, I would do the same thing.
Because like isn't like track and running and stuff like that. It's just whatever body part. Yeah. So then we ended up tying for points, but it came down to the tiebreaker was who had the most event wins.
Oh wow!
And that one event is what.
Yeah, that's wild.
So that last event was your only event win?
No, I think I had a few throughout the weekend.
Okay, but he had a few as well.
He had a few as well, and it came down
to
that one event.
And is he still competing that you know of?
I think so, yeah.
So how many guys were at the 2019 games? Do they
20.
have 20? Yeah.
20.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, they change the numbers every single year. They can't keep anything consistent in CrossFit. Yeah. So is it now 10? They did 10 this past year?
I believe so.
Yeah, all the Masters divisions were 10, so I don't know what they did with the teams.
I'd assume so, yeah.
Just it makes no sense. This is a side note. Sorry, Chris. It makes no sense to me why you would cut it down to 10. You have a bad range of tests. Yeah. Like it's just if you have 20, at least you have now all of the potential guys that could be competitive. Whereas 10, I don't know.
If there's one bad workout.
Yeah. You know? It's the same thing as the COVID games with only having 5 people there. Just like, come on.
That's the year I didn't even qualify, so I didn't care as much because no one kind of went to the games that year.
Yeah.
Hold on, go back to 2019. I got to know. So one of the things with the you could say Masters and Teens divisions, it's kind of like, was it still in that like outhouse that year? That you know what I'm talking about? That little building that no one goes to unless you're going to Teens or Masters.
No, they had some outside. No, you were in North Park. And,
we were in North Park.
Were you in the Coliseum?
No.
Okay. Yeah, they put them in the.
No. So you were in that little outhouse. You were in the annex.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to know. Having won, what did that attention feel like? Did you feel like you had won, or was there an element of like, oh well, yep, I'm just in the teen division and no one cared?
It felt like I won.
Yeah.
I think it was like I had so many emotions because I knew where I started. And this had always been like the goal. Like I remember sitting in my room when I was sick, and I had a bag of Swedish fish next to me, and I had my laptop on my lap, and I was watching the games, and I was like in awe of everything they're doing. And I just remember sitting there when I realized that I had won. I remember Mitch texted me, and he was like, I did all the calculations, you won. But I hadn't heard it yet. But it was all sinking in when they announced that, all right, it came down to a tiebreaker, and David Bradley, you ended up winning. And I was like, it didn't end up, but I was like, oh my gosh. Like everything flooded in. I was like crying. I was like very emotional. Because it was just, if you asked me 3 years earlier, would have never guessed.
Yeah, the transformation from doing nothing, right? Or doing a CrossFit class but being extremely overweight to winning the CrossFit Games is a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it's
awesome. Did you get any prize money or?
No, but I did last year's.
Nothing. What'd you win? Anything? Prizes?
6 swag bags.
Yeah, the swag bag is about it.
Shoes,
Do you remember the coolest thing you got that you were most proud of at the time? Like, oh, snap.
I think it was the medal. And
you still have it, I'm guessing?
Oh yeah. It was sick. It was like a big like gold medal.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like the clothes and shoes, I was
pride.
I was
they
like
gave you
15.
additional clothes and shoes or just the stuff you get for going to the games?
Just stuff you get going to the games.
But, so you didn't even get any extra?
No.
Oh man. CrossFit.
You were hating on CrossFit today.
I got some sick discount codes for like RPM and stuff.
Yeah. Did everybody get sick discount codes?
20% off your RPM rope.
I think so.
Yeah, that's the same thing that they do. They'll charge you, a couple $100 and then give you all the stuff. It really is a funny world we live in with CrossFit right now.
Yeah.
As they grow, they'll be able to do that without charging people.
Last year changed though.
Yeah. But
Big
still, you're paying to go, and then they give you a swag bag, but you're paying for that stuff. And
CrossFit in general, as a whole,
it needs to change. But that will, like everyone, I mean, golf used to be that way where you had to pay into every tournament. And now if you're trying to qualify, they still have to pay. You have to pay $6,000 to go to qualifying school.
Oh my
People don't know that. But the difference is that, once you're on tour, you're making millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. So
hold on. So what age were you when you won?
15.
15.
15,
Got it.
So then the next year, what happened? How did you miss out on qualifying?
So 2020 was a funny year.
Yeah.
We had COVID, started COVID. I'm pretty sure I got it like after Wadapalooza 2020. I remember I went and
that was like the start of it.
That was the start of it.
Yeah.
I remember so many of my group that went, like I didn't even compete in 2020. My sister was actually in the elite division, like with Tia and all them in those heats. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do Wadapalooza. I'm going to focus and make it back to the games. Well, then COVID hit, and then I got super sick, and then the Open came around, and I actually ended up getting mono during the qualifiers, and I would go to the doctor.
Who were you dating at the time? Isn't that how mono spreads?
Listen, that was not why I got mono. You can get mono a bunch
You're not going to tell us?
I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor.
You can get mono a bunch of different ways, like viral, I'm pretty sure. So it's like...
That's not what I heard.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I did the qualifier, did the Open, did not place that great. And I think I was like 6 spots out of qualifying, and it was the top 10 that year,
right?
When they cut it down. And it was just very demotivating. Going from like an all-time high of winning the games, winning the Open, winning Wadapalooza, all in the same year, to like
not even qualifying,
not even close, really. And I was like, wow. Like,
did you know though, like, hey, look, I was sick, so I have more in the tank, or was it like, wow, I
but
really
I never
have a long ways
excuses
to go?
And like but I also knew, okay, I was not where I should have been physically, mentally, all of that. I mean, during the Open, I couldn't breathe out of my nose. My lungs weren't good. Like,
that's a tough place to be when you have to do hard workouts.
Very tough. And that year, the workouts were super hard, super endurance based, and I couldn't breathe through my nose, and my lungs were killing me. So it was definitely tough. But yeah, and then when quarantine hit, and like we were inside the house for I don't know how long, but we had nothing at the house to train wise. I mean, we brought back a rower from the gym, a bike. We had some weights and a barbell. That was about it.
Yeah.
And I remember I was just like, I was going to just quit CrossFit. And I was training at home still, but I was like, gosh, everything's changing so quick in CrossFit. Nothing's set in stone. Even if I were to focus again, what's for them to not change it completely again, you know?
And I got to start this drop shipping business.
I know. It's like so many things.
Is that when you did that? Please tell me that's when you did that.
I think I had a bunch of different focuses. I think that's when I actually went back to gaming, and I was with a bunch of buddies, and they were all streaming on Twitch, and I was like, gosh,
you just lost
that
Brannen.
might be sick. It's like a
you start your own Twitch channel.
Polar opposites.
Live stream. Yeah.
Let me sit in this chair for hours at a time.
And instead, you were like, let me go back to the sport where I can make no money.
yeah. Well, it was funny. I was still training. I was still, as much as I could at home. But I was mainly doing cardio, so I was losing weight, and like all this was not where I wanted to be fitness wise. I don't think anyone was during quarantine.
Sure.
So yeah, I actually started boxing. I didn't just switch to gaming again and get fat, but I actually started boxing, and I started doing karate and a bunch of different things like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, just exploring.
Exploring, yeah. Because I actually, before I was overweight and when I was overweight, I did kickboxing for years. And I always loved combat sports, love boxing, love the UFC, all that, love watching it, and I love training for it too.
Who's your favorite fighter?
Boxing, Canelo. I love Canelo Alvarez. He's just amazing, sick. And then UFC, I don't know. There's a lot of guys. I like his name's Sean O'Malley.
I feel like
Sugar Shane?
Sugar Sean, yeah.
Is it Sugar Sean?
Sugar Sean. He has like rainbow hair, looks like 6'9".
I feel like that's just such a hard sport to get into and do well. Like there are so many really good fighters that never get the opportunity. Yeah.
And even if like there's a big thing with the UFC that they don't pay their fighters enough.
Sure.
And for like what they sacrifice, all the brain damage everything. And I think they get like $10,000 a fight or something like that.
You have to have a lot of passion. Yeah.
Passion.
Or be the best. You've got to be a guy that can show off and have a big following so that you can make a lot of money. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah, so, I mean, I think that's a good way though to stay in shape for CrossFit. Like if you're sparring or if you're just training for that, like you're still doing a lot of work.
In the early days, that's how most people got into
it. For sure,
it was I mean, that's how my bass player was. He was a jiu-jitsu guy, and their gym started doing CrossFit, and that's how he ended up telling me. It was like always either the first response, like police, firefighter, or the UFC crowd.
I mean, a lot of the movements that I was doing, I do in my accessory work in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then also I got really flexible. So a lot of my lifts started feeling amazing. Like my overhead mobility was probably the best it's ever been. Like my hips were super open, like everything just felt good. But yeah, so then I got really into that, into like combat training and all that.
At what point did you switch back to CrossFit though? Like when were you like, man, I want to give this another go?
Yeah, when was this? I actually was back. So quarantine was over. I was back training at the gym. And then I remember I saw Dallin Pepper post on his story, and he was like, hey, I'm doing remote coaching. And I was like, I don't have a coach or anything right now. I'm just doing whatever I want. I was kind of doing like bodybuilding stuff at that time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this might be cool. I've been friends with Dallin for a while. Like we met at Wadapalooza in 2018, and we've been following him, but like before that. So I was like, this might be cool to actually have like a somewhat structured plan, and like stuff like that. And so that's what like kind of got me back and got me like feeling that competitiveness again and that drive to be better. Like in CrossFit.
Right.
I had a drive to be better in a lot of other things, but CrossFit was kind of lacking because I was like, it's all up in the air.
What time was this, in 2020?
2020.
Okay. In like the fall of 2020?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
How long did you work with Alan?
I think, I'm not 100% sure, but it was from a couple months.
Yeah.
It was from months leading up.
What was he still in the teen division, or he was already?
He was out.
He was out. The year before was his last year? Is that? I can't remember which year.
Yeah, it was the year before.
I was just wondering, it'd be kind of weird if you were working with someone that's also like in the same group.
So that's what ended up happening later on.
Okay.
But when I was still in the teens division, he coached me back to the games.
Yeah.
And I ended up qualifying for the games and then ended up placing second. So
yeah. What was that? Go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, what was the points like on getting second? Were you close? Was there a chance?
I don't think I was that close, like the fall, like 2019. But I mean, I won 5 out of the 7 events.
Wow.
And I just didn't do that great in the 2 other events. Like I was.
What were those events?
I was mid pack, but it mattered.
Yeah.
One was like a swimming event. That one was just ridiculous.
Was it at the lake?
Yeah. It was ridiculous how it was set up. It was just like, I think it was like a minute and a half for all the heats. Like that's when they were sending out the corrals, and it was only a minute and a half between them. So, I mean, that's not a lot of time, especially for, I forget how long of a swim it was. I think it was like 600 meters or something like that.
It was just a swim?
It was just a swim.
Okay.
And so, and then when they started our time chips on our ankles, everyone started. It wasn't like you cross the line, then it starts. It was like all at once, and they lined us up in a row of like 4 or 5. So I was in the very back, terrible start, and all started at once, and then we all go out, and I'm out here like headbutting the Masters athletes that are like coming back in, and there's no like we were all coming in and out at this exact same time. So it was just like chaos. I heard from pretty much everybody that did it that it was just chaos.
I had a couple of Masters athletes that were there that year. That was 21, but the rule of thumb was you have to sprint ahead. Otherwise, there's no matter how good of a swimmer you are, because of those lines,
there's no making it up.
You get stuck behind people or kicked in the face. I had one guy that got kicked in the face multiple times and just couldn't pass. Yeah. I mean, look, those are the things we've talked about forever. Like you have to organize better, but it's also to be fair to CrossFit, like, what do you do when you have that many divisions and only so much time?
Yeah.
You have to kind of cram everyone
Someone's
in.
got to take a foot to the face, bro.
That's
the truth.
I remember I was like way out there and I go up to like spot and there's just someo's head right here and I just headbutt them and I'm like dazed.
Well, where do you think
you
would have placed if you had enough room?
I don't know.
You think you still would have sucked?
I think I was like
second place.
I think I was like 9th out of the 20 guys. So I didn't do terrible, but the guy in front of me.
Yeah. It's top heavy too, right? There's like 2 or 3 guys, including you, that are just like really, really good, and you're all placing 1, 2, 3.
I think the top 4 were like super close together.
That's what I mean.
In points.
But then if you're outside of the top 4, if you get 9th, then you 50 points or 55 points, and then they get 90. Yeah, that's a big gap.
Yeah.
So what? You finished that year, and obviously now we're talking here. You're still doing CrossFit. You're still pursuing your dream. After you finish second, you know that, okay, now I'm going into, what I'll call the big boy division, and things change. What were the goals after that year? Like, did you have, I want to make the games in 2 years, in 1 year, in 5 years? What was that?
Yeah, so that's when I had to, that's when I actually reached out to Max. And
Max who?
Max el-hag. And
our Max.
Yeah. And so I had like a meeting with him and I sat down with him, and that's when we talked about like my goals and stuff like that. Cause actually I was still with Brute like after that, and I was with Dallin. And then when I realized like, okay, we're in the same division now, how is this going to work long term and all that? I remember I talked with him a few months ago at the Syndicate, or one of the semifinals, and I reached out to him and I was like, hey, like what they have in Naples right now, like their training group, is like what Training Think Tank has here in Georgia. Right. And I was like, I live 25 minutes away. It's kind of a no-brainer. Like I really hope you understand. It was actually a big sigh of relief for him what I ended up finding out, because I was like I think he had like 3 or 4 athletes, and I was like his one like games level athlete.
Sure.
And so he was like all in for the change and the switch, because he was like, I want what's best for you too. And Training Think Tank is like awesome, Yeah.
I think that's cool of him to understand that, and also still want what's best for you. I think it'd be challenging as an athlete, especially if you're competing against someone else and riding for them at the same time. Because even if you are like a fair and honest person, you don't want them to beat you. So it's hard to write a program and be like, this guy maybe.
And he had so much coming at him too.
Sure.
With like, he was at that time, he was like getting out there. He was like going to the semifinals,
for sure,
doing amazing, like all the sponsors are now looking at him, So like in my mind, I was like, I doubt he wants to worry about programming right now,
Right.
But so then I met with Max. We had a sit down and we talked about all of that, goals, what the next few years looks like, where I want to see myself in those next few years. And we kind of made like a 2-year plan.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, where are you at with that? Like, you've now competed. You just did the Wodapalooza qualifiers. You've seen what the Open's like. You realize how much more competitive it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, where are you at realistically with, here are the 2-year goals, 4-year goals, 5-year goals?
Yeah, so my goals right now that I think are very realistic for me are make a semifinal this year. Yeah. That's the big goal that I'm striving towards.
For sure.
And then the games the following year.
Cool.
That's the goal.
Yeah. And what are the things that you guys are working on? I think I asked that, and I'll kind of lead you into it, but it just seems like now things are slowly changing in the teen divisions. A lot of these guys are coming out and they're already really strong. We saw that with some of the young guys this year.
Yeah.
But when you came in, you didn't have to be as strong. You know, like the reality is like, it's just over the last 3 or 4 years, it's like 50 or 60 pound jumps and squat snatches and cleans. And
I mean, I was like the strongest in the teen division.
But now look at what it is.
But now it's like that changeover. Like the standards are so much higher.
Yes.
Like we saw that in the snatch event at the games.
Exactly.
I forget what year that was, but I mean the average was like 285, 290.
It's crazy.
And that was like kind of not that great. Like that was like mid-pack.
Yeah.
And these guys are snatching over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And so that was like okay, we got to get strong.
A wake up call.
Yeah, but I think it also comes with time and just maturing.
For
just
sure.
Like muscle maturity, all of that. Because, I mean, like, you haven't, like, I don't think we've seen a guy come out of the teens division and immediately make that switch over like the girls do. You know? That switch over to making a semifinal, even making the games, you know?
It's definitely the male field is just much more deep, and the males are not as ready or trained at 17 to make the jump right in.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the females are. You know, we've seen that with Alexis or Amal or others who just they're already so close to the 24 and 25-year-olds. It's just not the case on the male side.
Because then you have girls like Olivia Kerstetter that's like 17 now or 16. I don't know.
Yeah.
Super young that had to make the decision, okay, I know I'm good enough to make the elite women and go to the games, or do I want another year in the teens division?
Right.
Like, you don't see guys making those decisions.
No. And I don't think you ever will, but it'll get more and more competitive. I mean, again, that was my point. You see the strength numbers and even the skills, and guys are getting in it younger and younger. You got into it, you know, when you were young, but you were just doing class workouts and not that serious.
Yeah.
There are guys now that are like taking it very seriously at 13 and 14, and then by the time they're 16, 17, 18, they're going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
So what are the things? What did you identify with Max for the next 2 years? Like, what are the things that you think that from a teen division, like you were good at, but this is just not good enough to go into the regular division?
Strength.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. You know, I saw that in quarterfinals with the strength event. That was like the clean bench press overhead squat.
Yeah, so they did the total.
Yes.
How far away were you, like, on the numbers compared to, you know, maybe just a semifinal athlete?
So when I sat down with Max and we looked at my numbers, my Olympic lifts were somewhat close.
Yeah. What do you snatch right now?
I snatched 265 at the games last year.
Okay.
And I ended up, that's when I won the snatch event. And then recently I almost snatched 275.
Okay.
Got under it.
So you're close.
Yeah. That, like, our goal for this year is for me to be snatching 285 by the end of the year, which I think is very realistic. And then my, like, clean and jerks 320, I think that can be brought up pretty quick. I mean, I haven't tested much fresh. A lot of the tests I've done have been, like, after qualifiers or after super hard training days. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what those numbers are fresh, but
So what else are you guys working on right now?
Everything. Just everything.
Dialing it all in.
You know, like, I was well-rounded in the teens division, but I'm not as well-rounded in the men's division.
Yeah.
So it's like we need to bring some stuff up, which would be like long endurance. I like to say bring up, I think, because in the teens division, it would be good. Like, it would be very good. My long endurance was great in the teens division, but when you come to the guys, it's just a whole nother level.
Well, that's the difference, right? It's like you're adding data points to kind of this puzzle that you have. And so if you're only comparing yourself to 20 guys and you're okay, well, I'm second, first, third, second.
And I knew all these guys' numbers last year.
Right.
Like, I knew all their 5K times. I knew their 1K times, like row, run, all of it.
Now you're dipping into 100,000 data points. And of those, maybe only 1,000 or 2,000 are actually competitive. But of those 2,000, there may be one guy that's just really good at rowing, another guy that's really good at running, another guy that's really good at muscle ups. And then when you have CrossFit style workouts, you have 40 or 50 guys, and you see this at the Wadapalooza qualifiers. There's so many guys that are maybe specialize in one thing, but if that knocks you down the leaderboard, now all of a sudden you get 100th in a workout in the open, that can really hurt you.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that was one thing we had to work on was rowing.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought I was a okay rower until I got here. And I was like, I am not as great as I think I am at rowing. Like, I was telling Chris, like, yesterday I just did a half marathon row for the second time. First time I did it, I got halfway, whole body started cramping. Literally, I had prepared so well, I thought. I had snacks ready. I had water ready. I was out there just going. I got 10 or 11,000 meters in. So, like, halfway, whole body just failure. And so yesterday I ended up doing it, and I felt great. Like, my butt was numb, my forearms were numb, but I felt great.
What has the benefit been for you to be on site now with guys like, you know, Travis, or seeing Alexis train, or these other high-level games and semifinal athletes, to be able to compare yourself and then also just like to see their work ethic?
I think both have been huge. to see their work ethic, seeing how they go into training sessions, how they are throughout their training sessions, their focus, their mindset, all of this. And like, it's one thing to see it over like Instagram or stuff, like their training, but to be here and seeing it in person has been huge.
Yeah.
I think just like how I approach my sessions, my mindset going into sessions, like that's been another thing that me and Max have been working on, is like mindset going into training. Just like, okay, let's process how this workout is going to be. Let's go through it in my mind. Okay, we're going to figure out, like in my mind, we're going to figure out how am I going to break this up, like realistically. And then going in and trying to execute it as best as I can, how I imagined it going. You know? Yeah.
One of the things that I've found is people don't realize all of the small details, kind of like what you're saying, the way that they execute workouts, even in training, the way that they warm up and they cool down. And I say they, just like the on-site athletes that we have that are high level, they do it differently. Every little detail they care about. Whereas most people, I think, that get into the sport, they care about the big details. They care about their times. They care about, their benchmark workouts. They care about making sure that they're getting better there. But they're not taking care of all the other details, which allow you to be able to be successful for a long time. Yeah. And I think that's almost the biggest benefit from people coming on site and seeing like, man, Travis does this warm up every single day. He's fine-tuning the details of his movement patterns. He's thinking about all these other things when he's pacing, and then you can learn from that and then start doing that yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that was a huge thing when I was younger. I didn't do those things. I didn't implement those like little things going into training, after training, and it affected me in the long run to where I had to be like, okay, I have some work to do in these areas because they're now affecting me in a large way. Like warming up when I was younger, I didn't think
you just jump in.
Yeah. I mean, into training, when it came to like competition, then I would be like, okay, let's warm up, let's stretch the right way. But I think in my training, I would just jump into it because I was young and I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't have to worry about weird injuries.
Here's another thing for the audience though, that people don't realize. You talked about this a while ago, but you said you wore shoes that you had never worn. And that's like cardinal sin right there. You don't change things on game day. Well, people always warm up differently on game day. They warm up really, really well, and they're taking different supplements and all this stuff because they want to, quote unquote, prepare themselves. You should be practicing that in your training so that everything feels the same on game day so that there are no surprises when you're out there.
Yeah. I mean, I've been at a competition where like I was in the teens division, of course, and like they give you the swag bag before the competition with all these random supplements that you have pretty much no idea about. And I remember watching guys in my division being like, just taking it. They're like, this is what they gave us. Like, it must be good. And I'm like, no, don't change anything. Like even eating, don't change what you eat before competition. Like stick to stuff that is going to sit well with you. Like you're going to perform the best within your system. Like it all matters.
One of the other things that I've noticed is for people that come on site, they realize that even the best don't have, every day is not a perfect day, I guess is the best way to put it, right? And we in our training usually have a bad day and then we fret about it for a week, which ruins the rest of the training week. Have you seen that and learned from that? Like, you talked about the struggles of the 2020 Open or, right now you're going through qualifiers and maybe you don't finish as well as you'd like to.
Yeah.
How are you learning to bounce back from those things, maybe from watching the on-site athletes?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing with like, you're not going to have good days every single day. And that's just about growing as an athlete, I think, and just maturing and just being like, okay, that wasn't the best day, but let's look at what I had the days prior, and all that leads up to this one day that, let's say, your snatch just doesn't feel that great, and then all this, and then you don't need to have it get to you mentally and be like, wow, I can't snatch anymore. Wow, I am getting weak. Like you just can't have that mindset. And then like a lot of the athletes here do a great job with being like assessing why. Right. And like going back over their week and being like, why did this not feel that great, or why did this go that way, And then that's been a big thing for me is I can now, like, I can tell when I'm snatching and something doesn't feel great, or if I'm doing a workout and something doesn't feel great, I look back and I'm like, okay, let's not be too hard on yourself. Like you've had a tough week, like it happens, but let's wake up the next day and crush training and get right back after it like nothing happened, So I think just mindset
So you're 18. You're still super young. Obviously, you said that you have a 2-year plan for now, and I know that there'll be another 2-year plan after that.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Thinking about the big picture.
You can buy cigarettes?
No, it's 21 now.
21? Did they change it?
Yeah. It's 21.
that might
Chris will buy cigarettes.
That might mess up my training a little bit, my breathing.
Don't do it.
You never know.
You obviously have a full life ahead of you. So these are hard questions to answer, but where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you still want to be in the CrossFit space? Do you have other aspirations? Right now, a normal 18-year-old maybe is going to college and has a career path that they have planned for themselves. What is that for you?
10-year plan, just where I want to see myself. I think it's going to change a lot, of course, to the time I'm almost 30. But I would love to do CrossFit as long as I can. Yeah, I think that's for any competitive CrossFitter. They want to be in this sport for as long as they physically can, and as long as they're enjoying it. I think that's what matters. Is if you physically can do it and you're enjoying it, that's what matters. I have other interests, but they don't take over like what I'm doing now, but I love real estate. Like my mom's a real estate agent. I grew up learning so much about that. And so, and I didn't get tired of hearing about it. So I think that's what made me think like, okay.
Right. You ever seen the South Park episode about real estate?
I haven't.
Oh, bro.
I have not.
You got to go find it.
I'll find it after this.
I don't think I've ever seen a South Park episode.
I think I've seen clips, like highlight clips of like funniest moments or stuff like that.
Chris has sent me some that made me laugh pretty hard, but
that's
how I am. Do a good job.
That's how I am with Family Guy. Like I've never seen an episode, but people have sent me so many clips. I feel like I've watched every episode.
The clips can be great. You're like, oh my God, that's so funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like doing this as long as I can, and I really want to go far in this sport. Yeah. And that's just where my mind is.
So I heard that you also have a side gig of a pressure washing business. Is this
true?
Dude,
I love pressure washing. That's
my
shit.
Yeah. What are you doing with that?
It's so satisfying. Like
it is, but it takes forever.
Yes,
doesn't matter.
I think it has.
Seeing that clean line, boy.
Oh yeah, I think it's like grown my patience, and just like I was out there doing my driveway for like 4 hours, and I never got bored of it.
All right, so how can people contact you for pressure washing advice?
Do
you have a legit business? Are you like actually going around and doing it?
I got cards.
Nice.
I'm doing it like 2 days a week.
Okay,
just for like Who
pays for the water in this state? Are you charging them for the water? Like,
no, I hook up to their water.
That's the way to do it, man. Because some of these guys drive around with those big tanks. I was like, you should just use the person's water.
Yeah, I mean that's
them pay for
that's
it.
what everyone
does. Costing
does.
them for like a normal job, it's like a driveway and the sidewalk.
I don't like their water.
Yeah,
I got no clue.
That's their problem.
Yeah, that's their problem.
The better question is, what are you charging? Do you charge by the hour, or do you just look at the job and give them like an estimate?
So I have like an estimate. It's hilarious. I have like an estimate of or a quote of how big their driveway is. So I'll go out there, measure their driveway, the length and the width, and then I have a set price of square footage for it. So I'm just doing.
What is your per square foot?
It's like
price?
20 cents.
Bro,
a square
you ever
foot.
need some help? Call me up. I'll do a day for free.
Chris is just loving it out there. Look at this clean line. Hey,
I'm not even kidding.
Do you do siding as well, or just
right now? I'm just doing driveways and sidewalks, and it's going pretty well. So I'm just doing that 2 days a week on my rest days.
I was about to give you a job, but now
you never know. I can research a bunch and go for it.
Do you put chemicals down on that? This is a serious question.
No.
What do you just? It's just the water pressure.
The water pressure is so high that I've researched so much about this, just like the drop shipping. Except for this, I actually did it.
You pulled through on it.
I went through with it, and so I use no chemicals. So I'm not gonna kill the grass around the driveway or anything like that, because I know, like these guys use bleach and all this.
Yeah. If you're going to these rich ass houses around here, you can't be killing all their fresh grass.
I know, and
Where do you get most of your business from?
Just word of mouth right now. It's been about a month.
All right. Well, we need to get you a website. We need to get you an LLC set up.
Oh yeah.
You got to be careful with the IRS.
Yeah, I got a job Thursday. All
right. So. How big's the driveway?
Now, are you a quick you just do like a quick little small area back and forth and then kind of move down, or you do big scooping?
I take my time with it. I want to do a very good job. I mean, they're paying me to do a good job, so I'm going to do a good job. I'm
So
going to take the time. So.
Here's my problem. I have a pressure washer.
Yeah.
But the stream is like so narrow that how do
I
I
have a surface cleaner, which is
so I need to buy a
18
tip.
inches.
Is that just like a tip that I'd put on it?
It's like $100 or 70. Mine was like $75, and it just attaches to your pressure washer, just like a fast connect.
Yeah.
And it cleans like an 18-inch surface.
That's what I need. It takes too long. Yeah, I mean, this is literally like 2 inches wide, and it's great, but there's no way I could do a whole driveway like that.
No, and when you do that, like when you're just using the nozzle, it ends up streaking. So when you get done and you think you've had everything,
then it dries, and you're like, oh,
you have all these lines. So with this, it's like a circle, and it just does all at once, and it leaves no streaks. So.
Why didn't you tell me this before? You should see my back deck. I ruined it.
Oh, no. Hey, you can go back over it with the surface cleaner. It doesn't matter.
I was just going to paint it.
It's called DB.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. DB pressure washing.
Is that what it is?
DB pressure washing of North Georgia, because DB pressure washing was taken.
You always have to add things onto it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like little is like of North Georgia.
Yeah. All right. My last
question. It'd be
question.
cooler if your name was D instead of David Brad. It's like he'd be pressure washing.
DB.
He'd be pressure washing.
Hey, y'all, my name's DB Pressure
Hey, I got
Washing.
a question about teen stuff real quick.
Of course.
So, did you watch the teen division when you were in it? Did you keep up with it? Was it something you were excited to turn on and watch all the happenings?
So like when I was competing, or before?
when you were a teen.
Yeah. I mean,
you kept up with it. You watched all the streams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then how about now that you've aged out? Do you still keep up with it?
No, I really don't. I could not tell you what's going on right now or what happened at the games and stuff like that. Like I followed my friends that were competing and like caught up with how they're doing and stuff like that. But other than that, not so much. So,
I feel like that's probably a smart thing to do, even in the 18 to 34 division, right?
Yeah.
Like not worry about where everyone else is, because you look on Instagram and everybody looks like they're having perfect days.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to me in 2020 when I had like the worst year. Is I was overanalyzing everybody.
Right.
I was beating myself up for not being this strong, being this aerobic, and I just beat myself up to the point of where it had the worst effect on me. It was such a negative effect on me mentally and physically, because I'd go into training, wouldn't hit a number, and then I'd beat myself up.
You're thinking, this guy did it. Why can't I? Yeah, it can definitely ruin your confidence.
Yeah, Instagram can be dangerous.
For sure.
I was going to ask you that. What year were you born?
04.
Fucking A, dude.
04.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Brandon, we're old,
I
dude.
know we are.
04. I remember 04.
People are going to be like, no, you guys are still young.
Yeah.
All my master's
Y'all are still
clients,
young. Yeah,
they always call me young. They tell me
04. I graduated the next year, bro.
yeah. He was going to college when you were born.
Son.
Yeah, good times. I was going to ask you about social media. Are you kind of addicted to that stuff, or you got a good handle on it?
I enjoy it, but I know, like, from past experiences, it can be dangerous, and I don't need to.
What do you have? Give me all the apps you use.
I literally just have Instagram.
That's it. You don't have Snapchat?
Instagram, TikTok.
You have TikTok?
Yeah, but I don't post on there or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watch videos.
Man, I feel like that. I think
if you're being honest,
it's the biggest one now, right?
TikTok
is.
So actually, my agent Cooper, who's Alexis's agent, he I just signed with him a few months ago.
Nice.
He sent in the group chat like a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Y'all need to get on TikTok. Y'all need to get on YouTube Shorts, like, because all of these little ones that are blowing up."
So I was
China
gonna do
has all your information now, by the way.
I was going to do heck nah, but I was like, man, we got so much to talk about it. Fuck that segment. But I'll ask you here. One of them was going to be, should TTT get on TikTok?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like
use a VPN, man.
You want to be in charge of it? Because I ain't touching that.
Yeah. You got to pay me.
We get a couple free pressure washes.
Yes, that can be it.
Yeah.
I can pressure wash y'all's houses and driveways to run y'all's TikTok.
Wait,
perfect.
Wait, he's doing twice the work. What are we?
Oh yeah, wait a second.
You said that backwards.
Wait a second.
Hey, I'll pressure wash all your stuff for free if I can run your TikTok.
Hold up.
Hey, that's a good deal to me, bro.
We just really tricked you into that one.
Well, I've made.
Hey, I'm being serious, man. TikTok is dangerous.
No, I agree.
Have you read into any of that?
Yeah, it's just like the app where I heard about this a while ago. The Face app, where they would like take away your eyebrows and stuff like this. Like I remember a thing came out that it was literally a scam to get all of your faces.
Yeah. I mean,
and I was like,
I guess we'll never know. But that's the same thing. Like, think of Instagram has.
Yeah.
So here's a good conversation piece. Do you think that they're actually listening on the phones?
Oh yeah.
To get the ads?
Yeah.
Chris?
I have to imagine they are, because there's been too many odd ass coincidences.
Yeah.
Like the one that sticks out the most was me and Mia one time were talking. It wasn't October. It was well ahead of time. We were talking about, hey, we should go to Harry Potter World, and we're at Florida, Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Right. And then she was like, oh, you know what? How about we go in October, because they turn Hogwarts into like October Village, or I don't know, whatever it was. And so this would have been like in April or something. And then the next time I get on my phone, it gives me an advertisement for October Hogwarts and Universal. I was like, okay, that's a little
yeah, it's like one thing if it's kind of like common, but it's another thing where it's like exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, it shocks you, and you're like,
So
oh.
Our first child, we found out the same day. Haven't talked to anybody, hadn't researched anything. My wife took the pregnancy test and like showed me. And then I opened up my phone.
You're going to have a baby?
And and we had baby ads.
Oh my goodness.
On Instagram and Facebook.
Wow.
How in the, like, it makes no sense.
That happened to my sister, because my sister is actually expecting in December.
Yeah.
And
congratulations, Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, we're so excited. I'm excited to be an uncle. But yeah, she like when they told us they were having the baby, she came back to us like the week later, and she was like, I have had nonstop Instagram ads for like cribs or like strollers and all this.
Now,
like,
hold on though. But did you start looking up baby stuff on your phone?
No, that's what I'm saying. This was literally an hour after the test.
Yeah.
And we had not looked up anything, because both of
So
us.
they weren't planning.
No, we definitely weren't planning. But
shout out Kinsley. Glad you're here.
So am I. What a sweetheart. But it's just crazy to me that there's no way that it's not. There's got to be some kind of algorithm there that's listening to us.
I mean, it's come out that they do listen, because they can go back to, let's say someone commits a crime or something, they can go back and listen in, like especially on the like the Alexas and Google.
Oh yeah, well Alexas for sure, and the Googles, but I don't know about on the phone.
Yeah.
Apple's pretty tight with
someone
security.
I can't remember. Maybe it was Joe Rogan, but maybe somewhere else. I can't remember at this point. But they had like a. I don't even remember what kind of expert he was, but he was going, and it wasn't a conspiracy bent podcast, so it wasn't like that wasn't like the flavor of the episode.
UFO podcast.
It wasn't like that. But I remember this guy got so hung up on being like, bro, I don't care what you're doing, or if you feel like you have nothing to hide, you've got to put a little piece of tape on your webcam.
Does that. My mom
on your
does that.
webcam thing. He was like, people are definitely looking, like turning on your webcam without you knowing it.
Oh my God.
It's scary.
That wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Yeah, I've never done
all.
that before, so
yeah.
just getting
my mom has had
my
that
mug.
on her computer for years. Little whatever you call it. Sticky
Something
note.
to block the
Post-it note,
camera.
yeah.
Sticky note, yep.
Do you not want to do heck yeah, heck nah?
I mean, I got nothing. The TikTok was a good one.
All right, my friend. I wanted to ask just real quick for you to
Yes.
give some advice for those that are teens, because we actually do have a pretty large teen contingent that either works with us or that follows our brand. What are some things that you would give them as advice as they graduate from the teen divisions into the normal age group?
Yeah, it's going to take time. Be patient. I know for me, that's one thing I had to come to terms with is like, okay, I need to be patient. And this is going to take longer than an overnight thing. And I think just the quality of your training, because then like we were talking about, everything matters from warming up to how you cool down to processing before a workout, how it's going to go. I think all of that matters.
Can we attack this in a different way? Sorry to interrupt. Can you tell us, speak to the teens and tell them how they could fuck this up? What could they do in the next year or two that would ruin their careers or like make it less ideal? What are the things that, they do X, Y, Z? This is what's going to hurt you.
I think have very high expectations for their first year coming out of the teens. No matter how good you are or whatever, I think having crazy expectations of like, I'm going to kill this next year, like that's great to have, but then you have to be realistic and be like, okay, I'm the youngest out of this whole, like, it's a huge group of people, like 18 to 34 is huge. And I think that kind of hit me because going from the teens division and going in, I'm like now not that great.
Yeah.
And it's like.
It's humbling.
It's very humbling. Yeah. But I think just losing sight of the end goal, I think you need to make plan out your next 2 years, like how I did. Like sit down, make a plan. I think if you're not doing that, everything's kind of up in the air, and it's like, what are you training for, or towards? I think it's good to set goals. So I think if you're not setting goals, you're doing it wrong. And then I think just going into your training, just for quality. Like if you're going into training, like how I was doing, going in there, not warming up, jumping into it. Like I remember I strained or slightly tore my hamstring power cleaning when I was younger because I literally threw on the weight.
Yeah, you just go.
And
I mean, you feel so good when you're young. When you're 15, like nothing hurts, and then all of a sudden you do hurt yourself.
Yeah, I mean, even now, it's like I really got to warm up before I squat. Yeah, because my knees. It's like, but yeah, I think those are the big things. Cool. I think those are the big.
I like it. All right, we got a couple questions for him.
You're gonna ask him the big one. We teased it. Yeah, Come on,
get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. This is the same question I ask everybody that comes on the podcast, and then we'll ask you some special ones. Okay. If you could be anyone for one day, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, that is such a hard question. Give me some examples of like y'alls. What is this?
Give them 3 people.
What are y'alls? And while I think,
I'd be Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I think I'd be Tyrion from Game of Thrones.
That's awesome. At what point,
can it be like how they were in a movie?
Yeah, sure. If that's going to make it easier for you.
I think like Tony Stark.
Yeah, he is pretty
I think
sweet.
that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that would. Well, I just would want to do. What is that outfit that he wears? What is that called?
The Iron Man suit?
Yeah. Like to be able to actually. They have jetpacks now for the normal person. You can buy it.
Really?
Yeah, they're like $150K, but still.
Are they like the water ones?
So not for the normal person.
No. It's I don't
like for real.
Yeah, they look amazing.
Wait. Oh, so it's not the water ones?
Because I was thinking it was like the ones that attach to the jet ski.
What's the battery life on those jetpacks? That's a really important question.
It's like 8 minutes. It's super short.
Oh,
I'll show it to you afterward. I can't remember what the name of the business is. Some startup in California, but really cool. All right, so obviously you're a gamer. If you could, I don't know how much gaming you're doing right now, but if you could be the champion at any game, what would it be?
I think Call of Duty.
You're a big Call of Duty
fan.
Not your CS or whatever it was.
No, that fizzled out.
Yeah.
I think Call of Duty, there's so much money in Call of Duty.
Oh, so you're all about the money.
Are you still pretty good? Were you competitive?
I was decent. I mean, I wasn't amazing.
You crush all your friends, the homies?
They're going to DM me afterwards or message me. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Now, do you talk shit? Do you have a headset?
Oh, yeah. That's one of the best
things. What's your
things.
go-to? Mine was always to kill somebody, hump their dead body, and say, not on Call of Duty, on Halo, and then scream, get out of town.
I just say you're trash or like get better. That's like the one thing.
That's way better, actually.
Get better.
I like that. You hump them? No humping?
This is not a comfortable conversation.
What do you mean? This is video gaming, bro.
No.
Teabag.
You asked the question. If you don't like the answers, don't ask the question.
That's not what I asked.
I think it was.
So David's you've been a pretty good CrossFitter, but how does it feel to have dated a CrossFitter that's now much better than you as far as the standings go in the sport?
Like what? Second place?
Like second place good at the games.
Wow. This past year, right?
My Lord.
This past year, yeah.
Yeah, so I did date Mal for a good while. But she's amazing. Like, she's an amazing girl. She's an amazing athlete. Like, she's incredible. Her work ethic is insane.
She's a monster, for sure.
Insane. And I think that it, showed me that I was just not going at training how I should. And whenever I'd go up there and train with her, she'd kill me. Every single time. Whenever she'd come here, she'd kill me. But, she's amazing.
Let me ask you this. Do you think she's going to win the games next year?
Yeah.
Did y'all meet at the teen division, or did y'all?
2018 Wadapalooza is when I met her. Yep.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah.
There are a lot of CrossFit people that are dating now. It seems like.
I mean, why would I have?
Yeah, I mean,
especially if you're at the same gym and you have the same interests and all that.
I mean, even at the highest level, though. Obviously, CrossFit or in a normal gym, that you meet. And
Wasn't Katrin with
all right, gosh. Go across that. If you could be the best at one
Other in my personal life.
Hold on. So Justin Medeiros is now dating Ellie, right?
I don't know.
Now, I'm pretty sure that's come out. And they're training partners. So I was going to ask you, do you think that you could date your training partner? And actually both of y'all be super competitive at the games level more specifically?
I think so. I think if y'all have a healthy balance, yeah.
No way, man.
I don't think I could do
Yeah,
that.
I wouldn't.
You don't think so?
No. I mean,
Why?
I don't know. Dating is so different. Like being married is a different ball game.
Yeah.
So I think about like being married to a training partner. That'd be tough.
In ways, I'm sure it's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could say that about anything.
Yeah.
Like in small doses, anything could be cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope it
Or
works out
bad.
for those two. I'm not like shitting on what
Yeah,
they got going.
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
No,
just,
for sure.
for me personally.
I think it depends on the people.
Yeah. If you could be the best at any movement in the sport, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Probably lifting.
What movement? There are a lot of lifts.
I think deadlift.
Yeah.
I think because it transfers over to everything. If you
It
have
does.
a strong deadlift, you have a good power clean, it
I
transferred
agree.
over.
I think I would still do a squat snatch.
Squat
I feel like
snatch.
that's just like such a man move if you can go out and you squat snatch
I think,
360 or something like that.
Like gi.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, how
that's
impressive is that?
insane.
Man, his dumbbell squat snatch at the games, how fast, did you watch that? How
Yeah.
fast he was moving? That
I
was
could
one of the most
not
impressive
believe it.
things. Yeah, he just is a very speed dominant person.
Yeah.
It's super impressive. All right, a couple fast ones. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
You don't like coffee?
I've never been a coffee drinker. I've been an energy drink.
I was about to
drinker.
ask,
Yeah.
how do you play Call of Duty without those monsters?
He does the monsters or the Red Bulls.
I do
Mountain
like
Dews.
the C4 and like
Oh my gosh, this
terrible
is so
things.
strong. So I actually just read, I'll send it to you, Chris, and I'm going to send it to Mike McGoldrick since he always hates on caffeine, but they just did a 20-year-long study in the UK talking about how good coffee actually is for you.
Really?
So I'll send that to you guys.
Aw.
We'll talk about it in the next podcast. I have
Well,
to read
I
through
can
it.
tell you it's probably not at the levels I was drinking.
Yeah, no, actually, so they did it by cup. So if you did one cup would be 8 ounces, not just like,
Yeah.
so usually they do this, which is like 20, this is 1 cup. I'm going to do 6 of these or whatever.
Yeah.
But 1 cup was like a positive benefit.
Mm-hmm.
2 cups was an even more positive benefit. 3 cups was a super positive benefit.
Really?
And then it started to deteriorate after that.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
like,
so 12 cups. Where was that on the
yeah,
Wow.
There's, I mean, who knows? But you know what's crazy is even at 5 cups a day, which I mean is still 40 ounces.
Yeah.
That's a lot of coffee.
Oh, I have
there
a
was still
hilarious
a
story about
benefit
caffeine.
for heart disease
Yeah.
and a couple other things. It's very interesting.
This is
colon cleansing?
this was hilarious. So in 2018 at Wadapalooza, Bang Energy was like just coming out to like.
Oh, I
pretty
remember
much
that
everybody.
year.
So you you have the girls in the bikinis giving out the Bang Energy drinks as you walk by.
That's why I said I remember.
Yeah, so I'm walking by, grabbing drinks. I didn't know what it was, and I did not know it had as much caffeine as it had. I thought it was like a Fit Aid drink, right? So I'm walking throughout the day, drinking Bang Energies.
And don't those have beta alanine in them or no?
I don't know. I just know they have 300 milligrams of caffeine,
Yeah.
which is like, I think 1 cup of coffee is 90 or something like that.
It depends on, I mean, Starbucks is
Depends,
close
yeah.
to 300 actually, but yeah, a normal
So
one
I
would
think
be
I had, like,
90 to 140.
4 or 5 in a
Holy
day.
schmiggity smokes.
I mean, I'm there all day.
Yeah. Could you not feel it?
No, I could feel it. I mean, I'm competing
Yeah.
as well.
Did you just think it was adrenaline or something?
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I'm nervous,
I am
man."
doing. That's the year I placed last, and I'm like, why am I doing so poorly? Like I wasn't great then, but I'm like, wow, I feel terrible. My whole body's shaking. Like my heart's about to explode.
As an athlete, did y'all have a private bathroom or did you have to use those porta potties?
I don't
How did you drink
remember.
6 of those things? and
I
not-
think it was private bathrooms.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was awful. And I remember I couldn't sleep at night, of course. You know?
Oh yeah, that's the bad side. So for me, I don't ever get super jittery,
Yeah.
and I actually like caffeine before I work out, but it has to be. It couldn't be like
In
a huge,
moderation.
a huge dose, maybe 150 milligrams, something like that. I feel great.
Yeah.
But the bathroom thing does play a role. Every morning, if I drink a cup, then it's like immediately to the toilet.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like being regular. You know, do you guys go at the same time every day?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
tend
It's
to.
just,
Yeah.
Yep.
It feels good, man.
Yeah.
Once a day or twice a day.
I'm gonna usually twice.
Really?
Go in the morning, then like after training or something. You know.
I'm a once a day. Are you once a day or twice a day?
I eat a lot, so I think.
I think twice or once.
What do you mean you
Depends.
think? Like if you're going to the
For
bathroom?
sure once.
For sure there's a regular 7 a.m., but then is there a 3 p.m.?
I mean,
Lord.
back when I was drinking all the caffeine.
The
and
6
probably
cups, 12
twice.
cups.
Were you really drinking 12 cups a day?
Oh, I don't know about. I mean, for a while there, I had. So Travis at some point got sent free Reigns.
Oh
you know?
yeah, those.
And
are
those have
nice, too.
300 milligrams
I
in it
love
as
those
well,
too. Those
and they're tasty, and they were free.
Yep.
And they, like, I'm not kidding. I had a zombie apocalypse amount of freaking rains in my house.
I went to the Syndicate.
But I would drink 2 a day. So that's 600 a day. And then sometimes I would top off with like a coffee or something else too.
That is a lot. What was so you said Syndicate. What was the other drink they had there? I've never seen it before. They were like, I think it's new.
Yeah.
It was
Herbe or whatever.
I did not like that.
It was Yerbe, I think.
Was that what? Is that popular?
I think it's popular.
Is it? Man, I hated the taste.
I've seen a lot about it.
Shots fired.
No, I didn't. I mean, some people like
preference.
it. Yeah, people hate coffee. I love coffee.
I just remember I was there, and Rain was one of the sponsors. And after the competition, they were giving cases out.
Oh, I bet.
And I drove, so I was like,
"Can I have one?"
Yeah, and they gave me 7 cases of Rain. Yeah.
Did you pull up to the
I pulled up. Yeah. I pulled up and I was like, "Load me up." I was like,
"That is awesome."
You said, "Load me up." Come on, dude. It was right there. All you had to do was say, "Make it rain."
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that could have been an
ad. All right, man. You got anything else, Chris?
I thought I did. Oh yeah. How can people get one of these fidget spinners?
TTT. If you order anything off of Training Think Tank's website
in the shop,
you get a free fidget spinner.
Yep. And we'll do that now while supplies last. I think we have like 300 of these. God knows why we have them. But also, winter merch should be coming soon. You'll see a post on Instagram whenever that happens. But
I need some winter stuff. It's getting chilly
that shirt
outside.
that Brannen's wearing right now just finally made it onto the shop. That's the Daft Punk homework shirt.
John just gave me this. I needed new shirts because all mine were stinky.
Dude,
out in them. It's crazy, man. I guess my sweat just stinks.
Shout out Brannen for getting new shirts.
I had to throw away my knee sleeves the other day.
I know. That can get really bad. You got to wash those often.
Oh, man.
Cool. Well, David, thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
I'm
not sure what to say.
Where do they follow you?
My Instagram is D_Bradley.
Yep.
That's about it.
And what's your Twitch?
I do not have Twitch.
He's lying. He does.
Yet.
Do you want to give a shout out to your power washing business one more time?
DB Power Washing of North Georgia.
Make sure that you type in of North Georgia.
Yep, of North Georgia. Yep.
That other DB.
All right, guys.
Peace.